Okay, we're back here on module 12 talking about network security. And we're going to pick up here about talking about proxy servers. Very, very useful component that's used for privacy and kind of controlling access to different websites. Um, and in like a lot of things, it can be used for good or it can be used for bad, depending on what you're doing with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch this video here. I'm going to make you watch this video as part of this because it explains what a proxy server is pretty well.
What is a proxy server? So that is the topic of this video. Now, a proxy server is a server that retrieves data out on the internet, such as a web page, on behalf of a user. So for example, normally when a computer wants to view a web page out on the internet, you would just open up a web browser and then type in the address and retrieve that web page from its web server. Now, when you go through a proxy server, the proxy server will act like a middleman and will retrieve that web page for you. So now when you want to go to a website, the proxy server receives the request from your computer and the proxy server will directly retrieve the web page on your behalf and then send it to your computer. So the question is, why would you want to use a proxy server? Well, a proxy has several benefits, and one benefit is privacy, because it allows you to surf the internet anonymously, because it hides your IP address. Because without using a proxy, and when you visit a website, your public IP address is visible, so certain people can know which websites you're visiting. But when you use a proxy, your IP address becomes invisible because as the proxy server is retrieving the web page for you, only the IP address of the proxy server can be seen viewing the web page. So your IP address stops here, and then the proxy IP does the rest of the work. And another benefit of using a proxy server is speed. So for example, if a company uses a proxy server and whenever a user wants to retrieve a web page, the proxy server will retrieve the web page from the internet on behalf of the user, and then it'll store that web page into a centralized cache database. So if another user on a different computer goes to a web page that has been stored in the proxy database, the proxy server doesn't have to go out on the internet to retrieve the web page. It can simply retrieve it from its database and then send it to the user. So this makes web page retrieval much faster. And another benefit of this is that it saves bandwidth because a proxy server reduces the need to go out on the internet to retrieve data because it already has that data stored in its database. And another benefit of a proxy is activity logging. Now, a lot of companies will use a proxy to keep track of what websites their employees are looking at. So when a company's employees are surfing the internet, the proxy will keep a record of what websites they're visiting and how long they were on those websites. And in addition, a company can also configure the proxy to block certain websites to keep their employees from visiting them. Now there's one notable thing that a proxy server can't do, and that is encrypt data as you surf the internet. And when data is not encrypted, the data can be intercepted by hackers, ISPs, or governments with the proper equipment. So this is where a VPN comes in. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, not only hides your IP address, but it also encrypts the data that's being transferred between your computer and the internet. So any activity that you do on the internet, such as viewing web pages or transferring files, the data is encrypted and kept private when using a VPN, and no logging is involved. A VPN provides a dedicated secure tunnel between 2 points over the internet. If you're interested in getting a VPN, I personally use NordVPN. And if you go to nordvpn.com/powercert and use the code POWERCERT.
Okay, so hopefully that helped explain proxy servers and their value. You also hear this term on like a lot of movies, when somebody sends an email or some type of ransomware attack, and the FBI tries to track them down, and they say, yeah, they're bouncing it off 5 different proxy servers in 3 different countries, and it's untraceable. We can't find it, right? Well, there's truth in that. If the proxy server is located inside the United States, well, the FBI, with a proper warrant, can go and access that information. But if the proxy server is in another country that we don't have a good relationship with, say Russia, China, right, North Korea, that country, that government will not give us access to that proxy server. So therefore, we're not able to track that email or that, whatever it is, where the money went past a server outside our country. Now, if the server is in a country we are friendly with, anywhere in Europe, right, and we request, typically those countries work with each other, and we can maybe see a proxy server in England, right? But if it's in another country, we're out of luck, right? So I do want to kind of point this out down here. There are different types of proxies. There's transparent proxies, configured proxies. Don't worry about that. I want you to just point out a network firewall used as a proxy, right? What they are designed to do is to make sure all network policies are enforced. So again, here at St. X, we do not allow you to go to any website about sex or drugs or violence or whatnot. That's our policy. So the firewall for that would be good. But this is the point. Network policies do not really protect you against other security issues. So a network firewall used as a proxy is not good for security. You need other things in place to protect that. And again, I mention that because you will see that in the test, and it's a little confusing. It's a little nuanced, so I want to kind of emphasize that for you. Okay. All right, let's move on. And now we're going to be talking about how we store data on a network, and there's a few different ways to do that, right? And there's kind of 3 main ways. We're going to focus on 2 of them. The first one is called direct storage attachment. So if we're looking at this, right, a direct storage attachment, here's the server on the network, and there is an extra, so with different services, right? You might email or web hosting or different services. But then attached to that is a bunch of hard drives, right, for storage. And this attachment is direct. It's directly attached to it. Versus a network attached storage. So here are, let's say again, this is our St. X land, right, St. X network. And the servers are connected to the storage, right, to the hard drives, through the network, not directly, but through the network, right? And then this one over here, this is basically storage in the cloud. So with that brief introduction, we're going to watch another kind of quick video here that will explain the different types of storages on the network.
Hello, and this is Sunny. Welcome back. Today I will talk about the 3 types of data storage and sharing solutions: DAS, NAS, and SAN. DAS, direct attached storage. DAS is a simple, low-maintenance, low-cost data storage solution where the data storage system is connected directly to the computers or servers through SCSI or other connections. It is similar to an external hard drive or thumb drive inserted into a personal computer. DAS is not designed for sharing data across the network. DAS is not suitable for businesses that are growing quickly since it's not designed for scalability. It is most suitable for small businesses that share data locally with little IT support. NAS, Network Attached Storage. NAS offers dedicated file-level storage through a network. NAS allows both local and remote access to data through network connection. NAS is just one node on a network. Compared with a dash, NAS has many benefits. For example, NAS can be available 24/7 and shared among different user groups over the Ethernet. NAS is best suitable for small and medium-sized businesses and organizations looking for reliable, flexible, scalable, and minimal maintenance data storage solutions. SAN, Storage Area Network. SAN is a dedicated high-performance storage system that provides block-level storage of data. The technology is based on fiber channel, a fast data transfer protocol. As a separate network, SAN is an environment that can be accessed by TCP/IP networks, but is not affected by TCP network traffic. A SAN commonly uses a fiber channel, data transfer protocol to transfer data. Servers are connected with storage reads through the fiber channel switch. Two alternative SAN technology to the fiber channel include iSCSI, Internet SCSI, and fiber channel over Ethernet. SAN storage is a very sophisticated system designed to support a complex, mission-critical business application and databases. SAN is generally used in enterprise-level companies, data centers, or cloud computing environments. Let me talk about the differences between NAS and SAN. Storage and access. NAS is file level and SAN is block level. NAS costs much less. SAN can easily cost millions of dollars for a big data center. NAS is less complex than SAN. SAN is highly sophisticated. NAS protocol include file level storage systems.
All right, I'm going to hold off there. And because, SAN, you don't really need to know much about SAN, but of course, the direct attached stories and the network attached stories, that will be on the test. You have to be more familiar with those. So different ways to basically save data on a network. So this slide, again, talks about the network attached storage, which we kind of went over. The devices are connected to the network, not directly to the server. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions on that, but be familiar with different types of storage. Okay, those are a couple of videos here. I am going to pause the video again to keep this short. We'll come back and we'll talk about printer sharing and file sharing and sharing folders over a network.